So yeah, pick that up.
Yeah, what else you got going on this week, dude?
For me, well, you got to say the...
I did before Madden, but...
Oh, you did?
I think
you said what you doing to me? Yeah. All right,
Anyway, what you doing, David?
Speaking of football, I had a fantasy football draft this week with a bunch of attorney friends and people.
Law firm league, right?
Yeah, law firm. That's what we call it, the law firm league.
Is it the second year, third year?
This is our third year. Me and another attorney that I work with, a partner at our office, we shared a team together. He's a Cardinals fan and I'm a Packers fan. So this year we didn't know we were going to get split up. We ultimately did. He came into my office. He's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're just going to draft Cardinals and Packers. And I was like, that could be a good strategy. The problem is like,
it's like, what's their bye week?
Yeah, exactly. Like that could be devastating. And I was like, I don't know if it equals out, but he's like a diehard Cardinals fan, loves the Cardinals, and I love the Packers. So I was like, I can't be mad at you. I'm like, that sounds like fun.
But no, that's not a very good strategy.
Yeah, and that's the part of it. Like, I remember with fantasy football, I was in, I think 1 year in law school, I was in like 6 or 7 leagues. If you're in too many leagues, the problem is
I can't do more than 2. It's just too much.
Well, not just that. It's just you have to root for the most asinine circumstances. So like, okay, I need them to get a touchdown, but I also need the defense to get a touchdown off of an interception. But then just like because you have too many players doing.
Or I always hate when like you're playing like you have a wide receiver, right, and you're playing against the quarterback is on the other team. So you're like, throw it to my guy. But, like, he has to get a touchdown. Because if he doesn't, then it's just like, the quarterback gets more yards. It's just like,
And this year, and my wife does this, Alyssa, she will specifically turn off her phone, will not check the score until the end of the day. And she actively enjoys the football game.
And you are like...
Right, we're checking it every 2 seconds, right?
Because we're only watching 1, maybe 2 games at the same time.
Yeah, we'll usually have 2 on. We'll have, like, the one on the big screen, and then we have a smaller TV where we'll have the smaller one.
And then you and I are just like...
We're constantly checking...
Crap. Yes, crap.
Right, and I gotta stop. My goal is to not do that this year. I am not gonna pull out my phone and stare at it. I say that now.
What about in between games?
I'm not the whole day. I'm gonna enjoy the football game.
I still enjoy the football game though.
But I'm paying more attention to the I care more about fantasy than I do about enjoying the active game. Now, granted,
but I care about my player in the game,
and that's almost why I don't draft Green Bay Packers. Because then I'll root for the weird circumstance like, oh, I don't just want you to get a touchdown. I want you to get a touchdown this way instead of like just being excited that we got a touchdown. So like I didn't draft any Packers.
See, I don't think like that when I watch Chargers games, I just want the Chargers to win. Like whenever I watch Chargers game, I throw fantasy out the window. I don't care if the Chargers are playing against my teammates that I have on my fantasy team. I don't care. I just want the Chargers to win.
Yeah, but then you do that one thing where like, oh, they scored. Oh, at least it was one of my fantasy players. Like I don't even like that part. That's why I think I'm going to try to not like pay attention to fans. I'm going to do it before the game, in between if I have like an injury problem, but I'm not going to like actively check it every 10 minutes. So
between 10 o'clock and 1 o'clock. No, even between those games, we'll do a quick.
Well, that I'll check because of like if there's an injury concern.
But if there is no injury,
then I won't check it. We'll see.
I'm going to hold you to that. I don't think you can do it past week 1. But.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, maybe not. Like the first 10 minutes. It's one of those compulsive things. But we did our draft. Normally this draft we do live. So everyone comes in, shows up at a room. We all go through it. It takes about 3 to 4 hours. A lot of course, bantering back and forth, people yelling at each other, calling nicknames and not nicknames.
Quote unquote nicknames.
Yeah, right. So it's a lot of fun. This year, though, a couple of people were out of town, so we had to do it live or do a online draft. So people still showed up and did it through their computers. It was okay.
Yeah, I've done an online draft before. It's definitely not as fun as getting all together and not even like throwing it on, writing everything down and then posting the draft results later. That's definitely way more fun.
It's because you have like 2 minutes in between each pick, but if somebody picks, it starts the clock for the next person. So it did 2 things. One, it didn't seem any shorter or longer. It felt almost the same. I mean, it was probably about 2.5 hours, which is shorter, but it did 2 things. This is the same problem with like video games that have a clock that all of a sudden shows up. You could give me all the time in the world, but that ticking clock makes me... It just puts too much pressure.
But like, I would love a clock, David, because like when we draft our league, it's like 5-6 hours feels like.
Yeah, it feels like it. But
we're on round 4.
Yeah,
it's
but
like, come on.
I enjoy.
Is it my pick? Yes, it's your pick. Just pick something.
Yeah, I know. It's like the 4th round. Oh, is that number 1 guy still available? Of course not, you idiot. Like,
pay attention, mark it down.
Right, but it just took away some of the fun of it. Like, there was still banter between the people, but everyone's kind of paying attention. It's more solitaire versus a group gathering, and you only
like you said, everyone's still looking at their computers,
right? And then you're like reading things. But the great thing was we drafted it the same day Tony Romo got injured. Unfortunately, I mean, my dad's a Cowboy fan, so I call him on August 8th and wish him happy Cowboy Day. 8 and 8. 8 and 8. Yeah, August 8th. Anyways, he was pissed off when I called him. He's like, he thought I was calling. I was like, hey, happy August 8th. He's like, thanks. He's like, what's going on with you? I was like, oh, it's Cowboy Day. He's like, I hate you. I know what that joke is. Anyways, so yeah, it was funny. Someone drafted him and like literally like 2.5 minutes later got injured in the game. So everyone blew up on the chat.
That's why we always do our draft after preseason.
Yeah, we do it like you try to do it as close as you can. Yeah, that sucks. Because
even the last week, you normally don't see starters. So it's
right. So we'll see if he comes back. You said he MRI?
Mid-season is what they're expecting.
That sucks.
Broken bone.
Well, they had a good rookie. Dax Prescott, I think is his name. It's a good name.
He's probably going to be better than
we'll see. We'll see. So yeah, we do our fantasy draft with the family friends draft. We do next Sunday. No, next Saturday?
Next weekend.
We'll talk about it.
Did you? What was your team name in Offer Link? Do you do creative stuff?
I ain't got to think of something. I was.
I don't know what my team name is going to be this year. What was my team name last year?
The Manning Face God.
Yeah,
it's always like
something
a Game
of Thrones related. Yeah, that's my couple of year in a row I did.
Yeah,
I gotta do something political.
We had a trophy. I think we've talked about this. We made a trophy for the Friends and Family thing. I think I might make one. Go get one for the Law Firm League because they'll get a kick out of it. Like
trophies are cool.
Yeah, and the shop we went to, it's like legitimate trophy.
Yeah,
like
it's got all the names on it.
Yeah.
Is your name on there, David?
Nope.
I think we covered this last year, but have you won yet? In any league?
No.
Ever in your life?
No.
I have once.
I have come in second so many times in this league. It's so frustrating. I think that's also why I'm gonna stop trying to. Like, it is infuriating to lose
and you're the commissioner, which is like, come on, man.
It's so to lose by like less than a point. Like, if the guy falls forward, like I win the game.
Have you lost?
I've lost by like points
in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I've lost a couple times in the Super Bowl by not by fractions of points, like a few points here or there. It's so brutal, and I think that's the problem with fantasy.
Your wife lost last year by like half a point.
No, Brandon, who was on the show last week, he lost to my dad.
Yeah,
by
that's right. Yeah,
half of a point. Oh,
it's like, come on.
He talked about he's like pacing in the house. That's why I think fantasy it's like gambling, right? You're like, But
I prefer that than like a blowout, just like a real football game.
That's true.
I prefer it to be close. I mean, it still sucks to lose by half a point.
No, I know.
But I'd rather be that than like 100-20. You know what I mean? So.
I'm just hoping that this year in the Law Firm League we do better because we split the teams. So if I do really well, I can blame the reason I didn't do well those first 2 years.
It's still
the
a
partner
team,
was holding me down.
Different...
We have two teams because somebody dropped out, so they needed us to split up to have two separate teams. He drafted right before me because they do it in a weird.
No, what I'm saying is, are you managing a team by yourself?
Yeah, I manage the team by myself. We both manage a team. So, like I said, if I win this year, I'll just blame all the other losses on the fact that me and him were working together.
Years,
yeah, of course, right? So, always a good. That's like I said, shoot and pull left-handed. If you miss it, nobody cares. If you make it, you flip out, right? So that's one thing I did. We also, if you're listening, it might sound a little bit different. I don't know if it sounds a little different, but the podcast might sound a little different, and it of course looks a little different if you're watching on YouTube. We are in a different area of my humble abode. We've got the board game wall, the giant wall of deliciousness.
Are these all of your board games, David?
No, of course not. Yeah, it's weird. Like I said, when I built this shelf at IKEA, I was like, we have plenty of room. Right? Well, I can't fill this up. And then I started filling. I was like, I actually might not have enough room. There's board games hidden behind here, by the way, if you look in the back there. So it's bad. Anyways, so we're in a new area, and we got a new table.
New studio.
Got a new
hype.
Exactly. Got some new chairs. But we went to IKEA, because now we have one in Vegas, which we've talked about a number of times. And I have a get off my lawn, because we went to IKEA, and I nearly flipped out. Okay, so...
Over nothing.
That's not true. That's not true at all. It's totally reasonable.
I will debate this.
Okay, so we are looking to buy a kind of a pub style table, which is this tall table here. And just like everything at IKEA, it's modular, right? You can buy one thing and mix and match with other things. That's their whole thing, which I love. I love that.
Tops,
yeah. So this particular table that we have in front of us, the base they had, but they had a square kind of rounded rectangular table
on display.
Which,
and we were like, total, this is great.
This is perfect. We even got got these chairs. We walked them out from because this is the problem with any kind of showroom floor that's gigantic. IKEA, come on.
Oh, they have a lot of stuff.
No, I know, but if you want to match a chair, we drug these chairs from we look like weirdos. We're walking around.
Grabbing a couple chairs.
Yeah, exactly, because they have different size stools and stuff like that. Anyways, we matched them up perfect. I was like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I want. And maybe the table comes in a different color because I didn't necessarily like white. I like it now. But anyways, we go down to the warehouse, and it says...
See an assistant?
See help associate if you want to... So we go and see the associate. He's like, yeah, we don't have that. And I said, okay, well, can I just buy the floor model? Like, it looked fine. I'll just take that one. No, we can't sell the floor model unless
it's not
it's
discontinued.
Unless it's been discontinued. Otherwise, we cannot sell floor models. It's policy. We cannot. And I was
Which makes sense.
I was like, okay, well, let me order one then. He's like, oh, I can't order one.
You gotta wait till the next truck comes in or whatever.
Yeah, so I'm just supposed to sit around and wait.
Yep.
Despite the fact that you have So then Gerald's like, well, let's see if we can just buy one at their website, IKEA.com, and just get it shipped to the store or shipped to us.
Only available in stores.
Right. So then we go there, and of course it says only available in store. So I go back to the guy and I'm like, okay, look, you say only if it's discontinued can I buy this floor model. For all intents and purposes, it is discontinued because you cannot order it and I cannot order it. So tell me what the definition of discontinued is.
Discontinued means they're still receiving stock of the product.
But he cannot tell me when or how or any influence on how to receive it. I was infuriated. I was like, so anyways, I was pissed. But so I go to the back to the...
Can you believe this GoPro camera?
Yeah, exactly. I was upset. Anyway, so the good thing about the guy, he wasn't a jerk. He was very empathetic. He's like, look.
The first time, Dave, you talked to him, you said he had an attitude.
He did have an attitude. He's like, look, man, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
he doesn't have that empathy, but like, I'm of the mind where it's like, who cares? Just don't sugarcoat it. Just give me the facts, man.
No, I used to work in sales, so like, I appreciate.
So did I.
No,
but I was, whatever.
Yeah, you weren't the.
I got talked to about that many times.
I just have a problem with like. Here's a problem. Okay, so it boils down to this, and I used to have a frustrating part with like talking on the business side of retail. Was like, what are we in business for? To sell things, right? We're retail. That's what we do. We sell stuff.
Right.
I have a customer who wants to buy something. We cannot sell it to him, right? If we don't have it, right? So stop putting it on display, right? Like that. Don't put out what you can't sell.
All right. So here's my problem, David.
Okay.
So somebody a half hour before we showed up bought that last table. So you expect them to be like, oh, we sold the last table. Don't got anyone in inventory. Send somebody immediately to remove that item from the nice room display it was in, and then put it in somewhere.
Okay.
Away from people's views.
Both assumptions go both ways.
Someone like David is like, oh, I gotta buy this table.
Right.
And then when they receive stock, maybe that night they receive stock. We don't know when the truck comes. They're going, oh, now we gotta send an employee back, get that table, and put it back in the display.
Still have a problem here. Because here's the deal. If you only have one left, and unless they had a run of like 15 people buying that exact tabletop that day, then you're not properly stocking your stores. Okay?
Maybe there's a good table, David. People saw it online. They're like, holy crap, we gotta get this table.
It's a supply problem. I used to hate that about like businesses. Like, well, we would work in cell phones, and they would like run out of the most popular cell phone. I'm like, stop it. Like, you want me
apples and oranges, David.
No, I know. But the real problem I had here was the guy who had an attitude at first, like, hey man, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Like, hey,
that is not what he sounded like, David. He just wasn't he didn't pat your back or anything.
And
he didn't sugarcoat it for you, David,
Right.
He was just like, listen, we don't have the table. Unfortunately, I can't tell you when it's going to be here. We can't sell you
That's
down
not true.
It's
not true that he doesn't have the table. That's the problem. He does. It's right upstairs. I'll buy it from you.
Okay, so they're going to sell floor models when they sell out of an item immediately, because like I said, maybe a half hour ago someone bought the last table. And they're going to sell you that one, and then we're going to get the truck shipment in that night, then we're going to open up a brand new one, we're going to put it together, and we're going to put it... No,
that's called taking care of the customer.
That's called a labor problem, David.
No, that's called taking care of the customer. Customer is first. Last time I checked, first. Not second, not third. You know how long it took me to build this table? I don't know, maybe 10 minutes. Okay? And I'm not even an IKEA professional. I'm just some guy.
You're not a Swede. Exactly. You don't know how this, what this thing's called. You can't pronounce it.
Exactly. No, still. Wasn't that that was the...
Stig are the chairs.
Stig are the chairs, and I think I forget what the tabletop.
Smorgasbord.
Anyways, so I go back to him. He's like, look, I understand you're frustrated. He's like, I get what you're saying. He's like, I can't sell you anything, and you can't buy anything, and I'm telling you it's not discontinued. He's like, that doesn't sound right. And I was like, thank you. I'm not being crazy. And I wasn't a jerk about it.
No, you weren't. You were definitely more frustrated than you needed to be about the situation, but yeah, you weren't a jerk back to the guy.
It's also another problem because I'm like running around in this giant IKEA, going back and forth, like trying to, Anyway.
And I'm no help. I'm just riding around.
You're riding on the cart trying to like smash it into things. No help. Anyways, the guy's like, he tells me this story of how he special ordered a car, and it took him like 2 months to get to him because like it comes off. I'm sure some car that was made in foreign car got shipped on the boat here. Anyways, I guess they're gassing it up and like getting it ready, and they like scratched the hell out of it, like ran it up, scratched it against something, and they're like, oh, we could buff out the scratch. He's like, no. Like
give me a new car.
I'm buying a new car. I don't want a buffed out, scratched old car.
Yeah.
So they're
like, knock off $10,000 off that.
Right, and I don't think they were.
Yeah.
I think they
were
were
like, depreciated by you.
Yeah, but still, even then, I don't even know if I'd want that. Like, I don't want
like 5-10 grand off a
maybe,
percentage basis.
maybe. Anyway,
it looks new.
So they're like, well, we can order you another one, but it's going to take another 2 months. He's like, I've been waiting 2 months. So he's telling me this story. Of course I go, yeah, but you still could have bought the car. And he's like, yeah, I know it's not the same. And he's like, but I appreciate him being...
But with a steep discount.
Right, but that's what I meant. I'll take the floor model. I was like, I'll buy the... Like you, I was like, if you're going to give me a discount on the scratched, I'll take the floor model. Yeah. So, but all in all, we found a table. It was this
and
round one.
I suggested the round table from the very beginning, David.
Right.
After they said the square was out of stock, and then an hour later,
so
we end up
people
with
listening to the podcast
table.
and watching it. Hashtag round table, hashtag rectangle table. You tell us. I'm hashtag rectangle team.
Hashtag square all the way. Or circle.
Round table.
I want a table to look like me, David. I want the table as round and amoeba shaped as possible.
No, but I'm happy with it. I like it. It's fine.
It's fine. We're bumping knees.
It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just, I think I was just frustrated with...
It was the end of the day.
No, it's like, I was just frustrated with, it reminds me of the frustration that I had working in retail for so long. And it's like, all comes to the forefront of like...
And you don't just want to deal with it. Because you're right. You're right.
Right. I know it's just a table, but it's like, you have the thing I want. You just have decided arbitrarily not to sell it to me, and I'm willing to buy it. Like, What is the point of opening up a store? It's to sell stuff. So
I'm more of a logical mind. I just think of all that background stuff why it doesn't make sense.
I understand from like logistics and all of that crap, but it's just like I'm a customer. You're a seller, right? Sell me something. If I'm actively asking you to sell something to me, you should do it. Anyway, okay. Enough with the angry.
Get off my lawn, IKEA.
Enough with the angry frustration. I did a couple more things, and then we'll get to the review of the week. I rewatched Apocalypse Now.
Still never seen it, dude.
I can't believe you haven't seen this. So we have the good old stuff segment that we do where we go back and look. I don't know what it is lately. I've been watching like epic movies, like Ben-Hur. We'll get to that too. We have some stuff with that. But I rewatched Ben-Hur. God, that movie's so good.
Yeah,
they have an overture at the beginning of that movie. It's it's been
a long time since we've seen it.
It's so good.
Just saw that with like Ten Commandments, Lawrence of Arabia,
and so going back to Apocalypse Now, it's directed by Francis Ford Coppola, acclaimed director of Godfather, Godfather 2.
I haven't seen.
See, I can't believe you haven't seen these movies. Everybody needs to go see these movies. I'm not going to spoil this movie. It's based off of a novella called Heart of Darkness. It basically takes place during the Vietnam War. Vietnam War.
Charlie's.
And it's kind of a 3-act movie. In a sense of there's characters that are kind of in the first part. There's a character that runs throughout the narrative. But essentially the idea of the movie is there is a major in the army. He is played by not Charlie Sheen, Martin Sheen. Charlie Sheen. Martin Sheen, this Tiger's Blood. Sorry.
Winning.
Exactly. Just every time I say his name, it's hilarious. No, Martin Sheen, who is amazing in this movie, by the way. He's a major in the army, and he's being called back to duty in Vietnam, and essentially he's given a classified mission to go and kill this, I believe he's a colonel. Yeah, colonel, who is up the river in Vietnam, and essentially he has kind of gone quote unquote crazy.
Sheen?
No.
The colonel.
Martin Sheen is the
but it's a colonel in the U.S. Army.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he was like a high ranking, and all of a sudden he went insane, and he's got like a following of people, and he's like taking control of an area of
AWOL, as they say.
You're right, and they have information that he's gone insane. They have like letters from him that he was trying to send to his family, and they're like crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never coming back. Don't look for me. I never want to, all this stuff. And he's played by Marlon Brando, who is amazing. The Godfather, literally, the Godfather. And there's a bunch of people in this movie. Like Harrison Ford has like a 2-minute role. And it's like, that's Harrison Ford. And he's in it for 2 minutes. Like, it's like anybody who could get in on this movie was like, let me get in.
Reminds me of Saving Private Ryan. You got like a bunch of little stars in there that just have little parts and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. There's also Dennis Hopper's in it. There's another person who's in it who plays one of the colonels, Colonel Kilgrave, or Lieutenant. No, I think he's Lieutenant Kilgrave. Anyways, or Kilgore is actually his name, Kilgore. So it takes place him kind of moving up the river and kind of stopping in different areas throughout, obviously the war and getting supplies and he has a crew of people with him. Lawrence Fishburne is one of the characters crew that's in it. Very young, because I think it's filmed in, I think it was 1979 is when it came out. But the movie is like stunning. Like for 1979, the movie holds up amazing. The special effects look great, but it's all about. It's really introspective of the Vietnam War and what soldiers went through. It's about post-traumatic stress disorder, about
Is it
madness.
based on a true story or anything, or just
well, the
fiction?
novella. There's some Heart of Darkness. So it's adapted from that, and it's written by John Milnes, who wrote Wolverines. Was Red Dawn. He's the writer of that.
Okay.
So he adapted this novella to be set in the Vietnam War, because the original Heart of Darkness is not in the Vietnam War.
Okay.
And there's parts that they talk about in the movie about like what the Viet Cong did and what American soldiers did, and there's some gray area of that actually occurring. Milnes says that he talked to people in the war, and that's the stories they told him.
But like, there wasn't a real crazy colonel or anything like that.
No, because that's based off of more of the
book.
The Heart of Darkness, and it's amazing. I watched the Redux version. I remember watching the theatrical a long time ago. The Redux version is like 3 hours and like 40 minutes long.
Wow, it's like director's cut kind of
yeah,
thing.
and it's got like a whole bunch of stuff in it. I don't know if you need to watch that version because I don't remember what's different. There's parts of it that I'm like, ooh, this could have been removed from the movie. It doesn't really add that much. But it's a weird movie. Like, it's definitely a like, it's hard to explain because obviously my generation had nothing, we weren't born, right? So,
right.
But it's really interesting to get a different kind of perspective on the Vietnam War, as like, not only from like a soldier's perspective but like the madness of what was going on and what happened, and it's a troubling movie if you watch it, but it's so good. The acting in it is amazing. It's a little slow paced at times. But it's got a lot of like deeper meaning, and it's like 2001: A Space Odyssey. You can watch it and you're like, what the hell? And then you go and watch somebody talk about like the background and the analysis and what was being said here, and you're like, holy crap, this movie's way deeper than I thought. Yeah. But even just from the visuals, and the characters are all well thought out. They all fit kind of a mode of like the first character that he meets. I cannot remember his name. He was in Gone in 60 Seconds. Old guy.
Nicolas Cage.
No, older. I can't. Robert. I can't remember his name. Anyways, he plays again, and it's about this idea of like the dehumanizing of your enemy, of like how it's just fun. Like, war is like a game, and it's like, what? And it talks about that, and it talks about the dehumanizing of like of innocence, of like what war does to people, how it these terrible things that it can do. It's like I said, it's a heavy movie, but it's well acted. It looks amazing. The special effects in this, like they do, like they drop napalm and bombs and stuff like that. Oh my god, it looks insane. And the shots that they got, I don't know where they filmed specifically. I don't know if it was in Vietnam, but they look amazing. Like, it's a really, really great movie. I definitely recommend you pick it up on Blu-ray. Just buy it, because I think in most people's eyes, it's a top 10 movie of all time.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what I think I've kind of been on a kick. Like, I want to watch like the greatest movies of all time. I think we need to start a segment like
Let's do it.
Like,
I'm totally
Empire or AFI. They always do like a list.
Yeah, it's AFI is the big list.
Yeah, so I know it's like top. I think it's probably top 50 of all time.
Oh yeah.
But it didn't win the Academy Award that year.
What did?
Good question.
Some crappy movie.
No, it was like another fantastic. It was like this year where like, Kramer versus Kramer, I think won, which is another great movie. But again, it's just one of those things. I think it won for like visual effects and everything. It's like Avatar didn't win the Academy Award, but it won like every visual effect and thing like that. Else. So they're like, hey, come on. We knew what the movie was about, right? So definitely check that out. If you have not watched it, I cannot recommend it enough. Strap in, watch the 3 hour and 42 minutes. I watched it in 2 sittings. I think you have to, because it's kind of, again, there's moments where it's very slow and methodical, but it's meant to be. And then there's moments of action and craziness and madness. But it's good. Great movie. Okay. What?
News Century or the news story? You want to do that?
Yeah, and then we'll follow up last with the review, the standard review of the week.
Speaking of movies, David.
Speaking of movies, good segue. We got our story of the week. No, story David. Of the century.
Of the week.
Okay.
Get it right.
I know. It's not like I haven't been doing this for 50 plus weeks.